watching. I'm Prerna Agarwal, Technical Product Owner for The Guardian. Today we'll be giving you Guardian updates of Sprint 31, which lasted from January 3rd to Feb 3rd. So just a quick overview of the agenda. We'll be looking at the roadmap. We'll also be talking about the issues that we tackled in Sprint 31 that lasted from January 23rd to Feb 3rd. We'll also be flipping over and giving you a quick demo on Sprint 31. We'll also be talking ahead of week of February 6th, which is Sprint 32, and the issues that we'll be tackling in Sprint 32. We'll be talking about the upcoming releases. We'll be also giving you some of the ways that you can either submit bugs or policy requests to various different channels. So just a quick overview of the Guardian roadmap. Again, this is open source. Anyone can see that. All you need to do is install Zenab extension in Chrome. And when you travel to the Guardian GitHub repo, you will be able to see a tab to quickly open that up and see what's going on there. So as you can see, we are working on linkable policy modules for constructing end-to-end policy workflow. And we also have an interesting feature coming forward, which is enhancing or improving policy creation and so on and so forth. So just a quick overview of what we covered in Sprint 31. So in Sprint 31, we committed to 40 story points and then we delivered 40 story points, which includes 1664 of support retiring offsets against non-tokenized emissions. We also performed some of the testing, which is soak testing, which is 1011. We have also worked on 1012, which is library of policy examples, and also solved some of the bugs being created by the community, which is 1729 and 1730. So let's look at a Sprint 31 demo. So the first ticket, what we'll be looking at is 1664, which is support retiring offsets against non-tokenized emissions. That is incomplete retirement pairs. So strict on-chain offsetting implementation of 397, which is retirement, currently require both attributes of the retirement transaction to be tokenized. This does not leave any room for the potentially lengthy transition period from the current state of the industry onto the new blockchain paradigm. It is desirable that from the start, tokenized offsets should be marketed to as well as of a market as possible. That is, we don't want to limit the market to those with tokenized GHG inventories. Creating a tokenized corporate GHG inventory is much more difficult and time-consuming than simply buying and retiring already tokenized offsets. So buyers will be ready and willing to buy tokenized offsets before they are ready to tokenize their own emissions. Therefore, there is a need to support off-chain offset accounting, where only one of the assets, in most cases CRU, will be on-chain. So in order to solve this, we have modified our current retirement. So initially, when you create a token pair, you need to add both the tokens for the retirement. But now, as we have added a second token as an optional, which is the base token needs to be added, but then the opponent token, the opposite token, can be optional, and then you can create the pair right away. So in addition to that, you can also create a retire request with only one token pair. So for example, initially we had 4 mandatory steps for the retire request, which is one is the base token. You need to select the base token, but now the opposite token is optional, and then you can skip, and then you can just create a retire request for this base token by selecting the contract and how many tokens you want to retire by adding the count. So to get more information, we have added our docs, which is docs.hedera.com/guardian. And when you go to the retirement contract section, you can get more info on the retirement offset support. And as I said, we have also added in the retire request. So this is it. Now looking at the second ticket, which is 1012, library of policy examples. So there are common scenarios in various policies which should be reflected in common patterns of usage of policy elements. These are currently present to some degree, but hidden behind the complexity of the large policy documents. So basically, this ticket will be useful for most of the policy creators. Just to solve that, what we have done is we have added a whole lot of library of policy examples section in our documentation, and which have subsections which is creating and using roles, data input via forms, token operations, MRV document operations, trust chain, and MRV aggregation and splitting. So basically what happens is when you want to create a policy, there are like some common steps involved in all the policies. So we have added a step by step with all those required screenshot of how to create and how to go with the roles and how to use a data input, how to create the forms. And to get like a complete policy, we have also added a policy timestamp. If you just import this policy timestamp and the Guardian, you can get all these steps inbuilt in the policy creator and configurator, and then you can modify it as per your requirement. So it all follows for the data input, the token operations. Like you can see, we have added in each step of how to create a token, how you can update the token, maintain the token, also the MRV document operations, how to create a trust chain in detail, and followed by all the steps. So please have a look at the documentation and let us know if we are missing anything. Suggestions or comments are welcome, and it would be good for us to have feedback on this particular documentation. Now, looking ahead of Sprint 32, we'll be looking at some of the issues that we'll be tackling. So we are currently committing 37 story points, which actually involves 1710, which will be replacing in PM with Yarn. And then some of the bugs we created by the community, which is 1717 and 1674, 1675, 1716, and so on and so forth. So talking about the releases, our last release was on Tuesday, January 31st, 2023. Our next release will be on Tuesday, February 28th, 2023. So there are multiple ways to reach out to us. You can reach out to us on GitHub. You can submit policy requests, enhancements, or if you find some bugs, please go ahead and mention those bugs with us so that we can get our team on that. Also, if you haven't joined our Discord, come and join our conversation at hedera.com/discord. When you get there, search for sustainability channel, or feel free to reach out to us directly if you have any policy request by emailing us at info@envisionblockchain.com or visiting our website, which is www.envisionblockchain.com. Thank you. Have a great day.